Welcome to another edition of Hey Bobby, Senior VP with the Cleveland Guardians. Bobby DiBiasio with us here on 93.5, 1590 WAKR. We touched last week how this is going to be a fun month of September. If you're a baseball aficionado or just a fan, you've got the Twins and you've got the division rivals on the schedule. We have a narrow lead right now in the Central Division. But Bobby, let's start and talk about the organization in general, because not only young kids making an impact at the major league level, but Columbus, Akron, Lake County, all having good seasons with the roster changes, right? Because when certain kids go up, other ones go up, other ones go up. It's been a good year for the organization in general.
Well, it certainly has. You're right. A lot of people don't realize the carousel that gets rolling. 15 of our players have made their major league debut, and you sit there and wonder, okay, how does that affect AAA? Guys going from AA to AAA, and then guys have to go from single A to AA and replace those players, and the musical chairs that's involved in that whole scenario. So a lot of transactions this year throughout our entire organization, giving young players a chance to maybe play up, challenge themselves. We do that with regularity, wanting to put that kind of challenge to a young man, put him in a league that he hasn't experienced before, some better talent, and just see how he reacts to it. The growth and development of every player in our system, the over 200 athletes that we have, very, very important to us.
That's what I wanted to go and see if you could throw out some number for us, and you kind of did there. But when we talk about the organization, there's low A, there's single A, double A, triple A, and of course the majors, and all of these guys looking at some point to make the next step up. It's a big move for them. And of course, the people at the top of the organization are making those decisions and calls on when it's time to go from player A to go from Lake County to Akron and vice versa.
Absolutely. Injuries play a part of that. Movement up the ladder, as we just talked about, plays a role in that. You've identified certain players that you want to see how they react to getting involved in better competition. We don't necessarily have a steadfast rule, excuse me, on, for example, of a high school draft pick. Does he spend the entire year in low A or even high A just to get acclimated to being a professional athlete instead of moving from city to city? A college draft pick might have more experience living in dormitories, moving around, might be able to handle that sort of thing a little easier. Don't know if that's a steadfast philosophy with our guys, but it's something that it has been discussed, and I've heard discussed not only in our organization, but when you hear other presidents of baseball operations and GMs talk. How do you take care of those young men? How do you try to put them in the best position to succeed and gain confidence, especially early on? Because this game can humble you quickly, and you just try not to have somebody lose that confidence early in their career.
With us, a senior VP with the Cleveland Guardians, Bobby DiBiasio. This update on Hey Bobby is brought to you by JW Dadato Electric. Bobby and I always like to talk baseball history as well, and I love to throw questions his way. And today I'm going to talk about hitting and how he views maybe the top 5 all-time hitters. I'll throw out my top three, and I'll let Bobby take it from there. I put that in no particular order here, but I have Cobb, Rose, and Ted Williams in those three areas, maybe as the top three hitters in my particular list of all time. And then 4 and 5, highly debatable for me. I went back and forth on all these guys through the years. George Brett's name came to my mind, Tony Gwynn, some of those other ones, but I'm going to let the expert take over here. Bobby, go ahead, tackle this question. Maybe the 5 greatest hitters, in your opinion, Major League Baseball.
Well, I don't know if I'm an expert, and because all of us, when we look at this, how do we define a hitter? Is it a guy who gets the most base hits? Then obviously Pete Rose, Ty Cobb have to be on your list. Is it somebody who could drive the ball and also collect base hits? Ted Williams, obviously, as you said, has to be on that list. I think Napoleon Lajoie, I mean, he was so darn good. Our team was named after him, for goodness sakes, for 21-year career, 13 with Cleveland. You know, he 1903 was it to 1914. We were the Cleveland Naps, 338 career batting average, 3,252 hits. So I think Napoleon Lajoie needs to make sure that he gets consideration. You've got guys, old timers from the Cleveland uniform, Tris Speaker and Earl Averill. I always thought Manny Ramirez could be thrown into that, as he might have been the best right-hander hitter of his generation. How do you not have the sweet swinging Ken Griffey Jr. On your list, or Barry Bonds from the left side? I'm partial to the guys that can put the bat on the ball. So Ichiro and Rod Carew, for me, have to be in this discussion, as the things that they did, consistent 200 hits a year. You know, we talked, I think it was last week, and we talked CC Sabathia a little bit. You know, CC came in second, a 20-year-old kid, won 17 games, Ray, as a rookie. Didn't win Rookie of the Year, winning 17 games, because Ichiro had 242 hits and as a rookie. So he won Rookie of the Year, but he also won the American League MVP that year. So CC could bow to Ichiro and those statistics. So that's such a hard one. Shoeless Joe Jackson, how do you not have Shoeless Joe on your list? Yeah,
One of the
this
guys
one
that
is a fun one to discuss.
One of the guys that I selected, and again, I'm taking from what I personally watched baseball, which is from about 66, 67 until now. And one of my favorite hitters to watch, and I'll say hitting, was George Brett. And I think he's a guy, Bobby, that could have probably hit 35 to 45 home runs a year. But this guy, as you say, put the bat on the ball and just hit to all fields. Him, for my money, again, I'm saying personally what I've watched, because people will say, who's the best hitter you've seen? Why, I saw him play a couple of games in Cleveland. I saw him personally. That's who I would select, again, in my brief time of baseball, would be George Brett. Yeah,
I think a teeny bit overshadowed, because he played at the same time Mike Schmidt, playing third base, and was a bomber. So he might have got a little bit more of the accolades because he could hit the ball out of the ballpark. But I think you're right. If George Brett wanted to, he could have turned himself into a 35 homer guy during that period of time. I remember CC Sabathia, going back to him and Ichiro, when CC was in town not too long ago. We talked about it. He thought Ichiro was the same way. If he wanted to, he could have been a 35 home run guy as well. Any of those guys that could barrel up the ball with incredible consistency probably had the ability to turn and hit one out of the ballpark. And if they worked on that, could have been big time home run guys. But, you know, the time period that they played in, you know, it wasn't like recent where hit the ball out of the ballpark and if you struck out, it's okay. Those guys hated to strike out. They never wanted to walk back to that dugout swinging and missing.
Yeah, Tony Gwynn was one of those guys, right? He used that toothpick for the bat, but that guy never struck out.
Well, I'm glad you brought his name up because we would have been remiss if we would have gone through this conversation and Tony Gwynn's name didn't pop up. I mean, you just go to baseballreference.com and have so much fun as if you're a baseball nut. Check out Tony Gwynn's career, Rod Carew's career, Ichiro's career. Those guys that could absolutely just swing it. I think there was, well, he certainly walked more times than he struck out in Tony Gwynn, but I think there was a stat, and I might be wrong on this, that he was hit by pitch more than he struck out, or something like some crazy stat like that, or he had more doubles than strikeouts, or I mean, just one of those things. So I'm glad you brought up Tony Gwynn because this would not have been a good, solid conversation about hitters without one of the best ever.
There you go. Hey, Bobby, Senior VP with the Cleveland Guardians, Bobby DiBiasio with us, brought to you by J.W. Donato Electric. My friend, thank you for the time. As always good conversation. We'll do it again next week.
Yes, we shall. Love talking hitting anytime. I'm like Charlie Manuel. Anytime you want to talk hitting, call Charlie Manuel. Go Guardians.